Hey guys, in this video we are going to talk about applying complex ideas to small tasks. This is the worksheet that you are on right now. And I just want to give you an idea of sort of where you're going with it and kind of what it looks like. So pretty quick thing. This thing we came up with before, right? Answer and string, we did this in the same show, different show, same worksheet, unwrapping the universe. And what we came up with was, okay, answer connects us to the question, a string connects two things. We've got this connection, interconnectedness idea, and we ended up going with breaking connections, which came out like this. Right? Some of the most powerful acts in history came not from creating connections, but from breaking them. The separation of two seemingly inseparable things can have explosive effects. I once thought that I was inseparable from my hometown of Placeville, but when my family broke ties and settled in other Placeville, I learned that home is most impactful when it is far, far away. Okay? So, what are we going to do with that? I am going to keep this idea of breaking connections, and I wrote up a short thing talking about peeling an orange. I like oranges, so, orange is my favorite color, so I decided to go with this one. But let's just read this over, right? I slice the top of the orange with a knife because I don't like all the gunk that can build up under my nails. Once the opening is made, I can slide a finger under the peel and start to pull, separating the outer shell from its inner treasure. I pull slowly to try to get the entire peel off in one continuous piece. Around and around my fingers march, navigating the ridges and carefully guiding the peel into a perfect spiral. The final pull removes both peel and pith and completes my broken masterpiece. I bundle the peel together until it roughly resembles its prior spherical shape. What once was whole is now in parts, the separation of what was seen from what lay beneath. That was how I felt the day my family drove out of Placeville forever. All right, I don't know if this would come before or after the other thing. It wouldn't really matter. I mean, maybe you could do it before, maybe you could do it after, who knows? But the idea is, so we got a couple of things. One, the narrative is very vivid. I have a very detail-heavy and kind of poetic style of writing. That's my personal style. There are lots of styles of writing, so you don't have to feel like you need to mimic this. But, I definitely do this. What I do think you want to focus on is these small details, right? So notice that this entire sentence, okay, this whole first sentence over here, it tells the reader something about me, okay? So it tells me that, little factoid, I don't like the gunk that can build up under my nails. So I don't like to make that first puncture into an orange with my fingers, right? Because it gets just gross. Now that's kind of like a weird random factoid about me, right? And if I were to be applying to college, which I'm not, obviously, but if I were going to apply to a college, that wouldn't be on the top of my list of things to tell somebody, right? I'm not like, oh yeah, I gotta make sure that I mention that I don't like, peeling an orange with my fingernails. That's kind of silly. But it makes me seem human, okay? That's the really big goal of this exercise is really, when you take these very small, very everyday type tasks, it makes you seem like a human being. Most of the time what you guys want to do is seem like a superhero or seem like just some crazy superhuman type of person who can do anything and everything all at once and never sleep and never whatever, right? Whatever. And never wrong, always good, always perfect. That's just one, it's kind of boring because we've already seen a lot of superhero movies. There's 15 million Marvel movies now. But in addition to that, they are looking for a human being, right? And I say this all the time, education is a human thing. Humans are the only ones who do it. It's just us. It's just our thing. We do education. So you want to seem human. You want to look like a real human being. So having these weird little tidbits, this doesn't say anything good or bad about me, right? That's kind of a nice tidbit because I'm not trying to brag, and it's not admitting a fault, but it's just a random little thing, that you could know about me. Okay. Once the opening is made, I can slide a finger into the peel and start to pull, separating the outer shell from its inner treasure. This is just, it's kind of a sentence that is describing more of what's happening. But recognize this. This first sentence, the only thing that happens is one slice of the knife. That's it. In the second sentence, all that happens is that I slide my finger under the peel and start to pull. That's it. Nothing else. I just slide my finger under there and start to pull. Okay, so it's like the first sentence is like 1 second, it's half of a second. The second sentence is another half of a second, right? It was just really, really small, really slowing this down. So your goal is not to accomplish like 400 things. You're not going to write a sentence that's like, and then I, picked up the orange and cut it open and started to peel it, and then, the juice was spilling out and like all these things happened, period. That's the end of my sentence. It's not that, We're really, really slowing this down. Third sentence, I pull slowly to try to get the entire peel off in one continuous piece. This, again, kind of says something about me, right? I'm like one of those goofy people that likes to pull it all off in one continuous spiral. That's actually a pretty common thing. A lot of people like that. So it's kind of relatable, actually. But again, it's not necessarily good or bad. It's just a kind of a factoid about me, right? Around and around my fingers march, navigating the ridges and carefully guiding the peel into a perfect spiral. Okay, again, this is where I get a little bit, perhaps flowery and poetic, right? In this sentence, so in the third sentence here, I pull slowly. That literally is just describing the things that I was doing in the prior sentence. So nothing more has actually happened in this. Maybe I've made one additional pull. So maybe an additional half second has passed here. Around and around my fingers march. This sentence is actually going to encompass maybe a couple more seconds, right? So 3, 4, 5 seconds. So now I'm going to kind of speed it up in the middle here because obviously I don't want to describe every single second of the peeling of the orange. It would take a while. Mostly just the interesting seconds. Okay, the final pull removes both peel and pith and completes my broken masterpiece. That's like an interesting set of words, right? This broken masterpiece over here is just kind of interesting. I was trying to bring in this idea of breaking connections, so I used the word broken because of that, right? And, it's a masterpiece because I was like trying real hard to like make this continuous thing and whatever, and there's talking about treasure and stuff, so maybe it kind of brings it all together. I bundle the peel together until it roughly resembles its prior spherical shape. So this is just telling you, like, kind of describing what the masterpiece looks like. Otherwise, it is kind of hard to tell what on earth the masterpiece actually is, in my mind. I put all the peel back together and it looks like it's pretending to be an orange, but not quite. What once was whole is now in parts, the separation of what was seen from what lay beneath. Okay, this is the transition sentence. So now we go from talking about the orange to talking about a general concept, right? The separation of what was seen from what lay beneath. Taking away the outer layer, taking off, maybe you want to bring in don't judge a book by its cover. Obviously, you're going to reverse that cliche in some kind of a way. We're doing, something like that, where it's this idea that the idea has gotten bigger. So suddenly, very suddenly, but very fluidly, we went from tiny half-second sentences to boom, big idea, right? The separation of what was seen from what lay beneath. And then, I just tossed this in there at the end. That was how I felt the day my family drove out of Placeville forever. So, that's how we connect back to the other aspect of it. What are you going to do in this whole thing? Pick any tiny action, but really, really make it something where the action itself is like no more than 2 minutes, ideally 1 minute, ideally 30 seconds. I mean, make it really, really short so that you can get these tiny sentences, half a second sentence, half a second of a sentence, really, really, really small. I don't want to have like a ton of things happening all at once. However, recognize that we are going to work on vivid narrative later. So if it doesn't sound super flowery like mine, totally okay. Don't worry about it. Your goal right now is really just to slow it down, to take these tiny, tiny human things and make yourself seem human and really, really slow down your story. So let's practice.